Welcome to Flourish. I'm glad we get to talk today. Have you been having fun learning about community? I sure have. I want to move on to the next week when we're talking about the importance of who we surround ourselves with. Who is in our community? On our first week talking about community, we talked about the importance of community and what community is, and the base word of community is commune, which is simply to come together and talk, come together for a common purpose, and our purpose is to pray, and how there's power in two or three who are gathered together. Last week we talked about how important it is to dine and to allow Jesus to dine with us and to be the center. Well, this week I want to talk about who we should surround ourselves with. Again, we know in Genesis that God tells us when he tells Adam it's not good for man to be alone. I want to take a look at what Paul tells us in 2 Corinthians chapter 6. I want to look at verse 14 through 18. He says, "Do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers." Wow. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. That's pretty straightforward. He says, "For what fellowship has righteousness with lawlessness? And what communion?" There's that word again, communion. "And what communion has light with darkness? And what accord has Christ with Belial? Or what part has a believer with an unbeliever? And what agreement has the temple of God with idols? For you, me, we are the temple of the living God. For God has said, I will dwell in them and walk among them. I will be their God, and they will be my people. Therefore, come out from among them. Do not touch what is unclean, and I will receive you. I will be a father to you, and you shall be my sons and my daughters, says the Lord Almighty." Wow, that's pretty clear cut. When Paul suggests, and Paul is saying in 2 Corinthians, do not be unequally yoked. That's very important. Remember, we talked about the power of agreement. If we're unequally yoked, how can we truly agree? Also, wanted to ask you if you ever heard a saying, birds of a feather flock together. Jesus is often referred to as the Good Shepherd. When he's shepherding, normally we're thinking about sheep, right? And he kind of gives a story to help us understand how he shepherds over us. And he compares us to sheep, like my little lamb back here. When we think about sheep, sheep are one of the weaker animals in the world. In actuality, they're pretty defenseless alone. And if they get separated from the flock, prey normally attack them, or they die because of parasites. But let me encourage you. Birds of a feather flock together. That word flock, many, community, just like sheep. They're herded together. Jesus is the Good Shepherd. We are the sheep. And there is power when we gather together. We can defend each other from the tactic of the enemy. So I encourage you, friend, surround yourself with like-minded believers. Pray, for the power of agreement is unmatched and unlike any other, for the Word tells us so. I look forward to being able to talk to you next week. Until next time, bye-bye.